My dear brothers and sisters, in the year 2000, two universities got together to conduct an experiment. So psychologists at Columbia and Stanford universities, they conduct a famous experiment called the jam experiment. They went to a very luxurious shopping mall. They went to the food market and they placed a huge table there, and they brought a lot of jam, products of jam, for the people to test. Now they brought of various colors, various tastes, and even the smell was quite interesting. So they brought like 24 types of jam for this experiment. And they invited people to come and test. They came and they tasted. They went from one type to another, from one color to another. They liked the taste as well, but still, they kept on changing the kind of jam that they wanted. And ultimately, of all the people who visited this tasting booth, only 3% of them bought jam really. So what did they do? They changed their strategy the following day. Because lots of options don't help the people to choose properly. Options just deviate the people from what they should focus. So what did they do? These psychologists, they reduced the number now. This time it was not 24. The following day they came up with just 6 products, 6 types of jam. And they kept it on the table. People came now, less options, less distractions, and it was easy for them to focus on what was essential. This time it was a staggering 30% success. 30% of the people who came to visit this tasting booth went buying products of this stall. My dear brothers and sisters, this is true. When people are overwhelming with choices, when we have a lot of choices, when we have a lot of options, it's really difficult for us to concentrate on one thing. We forget what's essential. We forget what's important. Why? If I'm not happy with this option, I always have other options available. I can go for another option. I can go for another taste. I can go for another color. I can look for another texture. I don't have to be satisfied with this option only, because this is not the only option I have. I have a lot of options, and all of the options are good for me. And this was the mentality, this was the conclusion that these psychologists came to. The psychologists of Columbia and Stanford universities, after conducting this experiment, this was what they concluded. A lot of options distract people. They don't help people. They just distract people. A lot of options, sometimes it's not good because you don't know what's essential. You don't know what's important in life. Look at our own homes. Sometimes you come after a very busy day, or you organize a movie night with your cousins, with your friends at home, and everything else is easy to organize. You get what you want to eat, you look for the place, perfect place, a home of your cousin or your own home. Everything is set up except for what you are going to watch. Because the moment you switch on the TV, the moment you access the internet, the moment you switch on the YouTube application, you enter Netflix or whatever the platform, you have thousands and thousands of options, and you're lost in these options. You spend 5, 10, 20 minutes, and even after half an hour, you haven't selected a movie. You're still scrolling up and down to see, what are we going to watch tonight? Because lots of options just deviate us from what's essential. And my dear brothers and sisters, it's not just something common with jam. It's not something common with the supermarkets. It's not just something common with YouTube or Netflix or whatever these things. This supermarket mentality is also applicable even in our relationships, even in our faith. Why is infidelity there in marriage life? Because I have other options. I forget what is essential. I forget what's important when I am comfortable with other options. And having options sometimes is really, really dangerous. Why? Because it makes me forget what is truly valuable in life, what is truly important, what is truly essential. I get used to a mode of consumption. I only consume, I only use, I utilize and throw away. Because there's nothing essential in my life. I have a lot of options. I have a lot of things in front of me. And this is the danger that Jesus saw when he took his disciples to this place, which we heard in today's gospel, Caesarea Philippi. Jesus takes his disciples to Caesarea Philippi because of a special reason, because of this mentality, this spiritual supermarket mentality that even we could have. What was so special with Caesarea Philippi? Now, Caesarea Philippi, my dear brothers and sisters, in those days was a hub for pagans. A lot of cultures got together, a lot of religions got together, and everyone had their own temple, everyone had their own cave or grotto or monument or statue or whatever. And it was not just, one religion or one faith or one belief or one God. There was a lot of options, a lot of varieties. If you are not satisfied with this temple, you can go to the other temple. If you are not satisfied with this priest, you can go to the other priest. If you are not satisfied with this God or this statue or this monument, you still have options. You have not run out of options. There are lots of options. You can keep on changing. And this was Caesarea Philippi. Because they had a temple dedicated to Zeus. They had a grotto dedicated, a cave dedicated to one of the Greek pagan gods named Pan, P-A-N, Pan. And they also had a huge monument erected by Herod the Great to worship the Roman emperor who considered himself the Son of God. And the archaeologists, they found ruins of Canaanite temples as well dedicated to this god named Baal, whom we find in the Old Testament. So this was a hub for paganism. This was a hub for other religions as well. And that's why Jesus brings his disciples to this place where there are lots of options, and he asks them this question: who do people say that the Son of Man is? With all these options available, with all these gods and temples and monuments available around, now tell me, disciples, who do the people say that I am? And their response, my dear brothers and sisters, was something very popular. What people say, they just reported to Jesus. Jesus, they say that you're John the Baptist. They say that you're Elijah. They say that you're Jeremiah, that you're one of the prophets, great prophets. This is the opinion what others have on you. This is the most popular things that they speak of you. And this is what they reported to Jesus. Now Jesus, he concretizes this question even more. He brings it to a personal level and asks, now tell me, not what is popular, not the popular opinion. Tell me, who do you think that I am? Who am I to you, my dear disciples? After living this long with me, having seen all these options, having seen all the other preachers, all the other gods, all the other temples and monuments, now tell me, am I just one of your options? Who am I? Am I just one of the many options that you have? And that's where Peter comes forward and says, Lord, you're not an option for us. You're not one among the others. You are the Son of the living God, and you are the one for us. We don't have any other options. We are not confused with other options. Yes, we live in a multi-religious, multicultural society. We live among pagans. We live among people who are confused. We live among people who don't know what's essential and important. But still, we know that you are the only one in our lives. My dear brothers and sisters, this is such a beautiful thing that Peter did. This is such a beautiful thing that Peter gives us today through the gospel to challenge us. Because look at our own lives, look at our own society. Yes, it's true, we don't live in Caesarea Philippi, but the same Caesarea Philippi exists in today's society. In this century, it exists a lot, not only with non-Christian, non-Catholic religions. Of course, we have non-Catholic religions, non-Christian religions, a lot, people of other beliefs. But still, even in this Christianity, in this mainstream of Christianity, still there are more than 40,000 Christian denominations. Lots of options available. You go out, you will find lots of options, lots of other possibilities. If you don't like this place, you can go to the other place. If you don't like this preacher, you can go to another preacher. If you don't like this music, you can go to another music. If you don't like this hall, you can go to another hall. If you don't like this service or this prayer meeting, there's always options. There are always options. And Jesus comes to this current Caesarea Philippi and asks the same question: am I just one among all the other options that you can have, or am I the only one for you? My dear brothers and sisters, Peter's response was so amazing. Peter's response was so amazing, and that's why Jesus said something, echoed what we heard in the first reading. Jesus gave Peter the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Why? This happened in the Old Testament, as we heard in the first reading. This happened because the keys were given to the prime minister of the house of David. He was not the owner, he was the in charge, he was the prime minister. He was given the keys, and when Jesus said, I give you the kingdom keys, Peter, the disciples knew what he was referring to. He was establishing the church. Jesus said, I establish my church upon you, Kepha, rock. Upon you I build my church. And Jesus was pretty sure what he was saying. He was so serious about what he was saying. He was not joking. And that's why Jesus did not call in plural terms. He did not say, I build my churches on you. He was talking about one church, true church, the eternal church. And he does not share his spouse, his fidelity with anyone else. My dear brothers and sisters, we might have a lot of options in the world, but Jesus gave us just one church. Jesus gave us just one fidelity, and that Jesus is not unfaithful to his words. He's not unfaithful to his spouse, his bride, the church. He will always be faithful. He said, I will be with you until the end of the times. Even the gates of hell will have no power upon you. And this is the faithfulness, fidelity that Jesus has, God has with his church. And what's the church for you? Is it just one option? Is it just Sunday Eucharist for you? Does the church mean coming to church and receiving the Eucharist and going away? You go for your preaching to another place. You go for your music, your religious music, your prayer meetings to another place. Are all the other options equal to you? Or are you just as Peter, so courageous to say, Jesus, you're not an option. Your church is not just one among the other options, but the option for me, the only solution for me. And dear brothers and sisters, may the Lord direct us like he directed Peter, because Peter, after prophesying that, Jesus said, this was not through flesh and blood that was revealed to you, but through the Spirit, through my Father. Let that same Spirit guide us to choose what is right, to choose the one Lord, one church among all the other options that are available in the society. And may our Blessed Mother help us in this. Amen.